Hi, thanks for stopping by. Cindy here at Mama Bear Vinyl, and I just want to share some thoughts today about things that I've been thinking about. Maybe they're questions you have asked yourself about whether you've crossed over from just a music enthusiast to a full fledged vinyl junkie. I've never really thought of myself ever as a record collector. I've always thought of myself as a music enthusiast. And I really love music. I love the format of vinyl record albums and just the whole process of spinning the album and listening to the whole album in one sitting. And I, it just, has very gives me the warm fuzzies just thinking about it. So I feel like I've always had records in my life, um, but I never felt like the records took over my life. And I joke with my husband and my family, oh yeah, I'm a record junkie, but I never really believed it. But recently, thinking about things, there's definitely been some subtle lines that I have crossed. Clearly, some pretty big red flags that I've noticed, but not really paid attention to. And so I'm just going to kind of share some of those subtle lines I feel like I've crossed or red flags that I'm seeing that are leading me to believe that, my record collection and record collecting are something a little more, and that perhaps I am a vinyl junkie. And so, one of the really big red flags that I've noticed lately is just shopping for records. Now, I have a pretty good size collection, not as big as some of you do, so I kind of justify my buying with that. Like, oh, it's not that big, but it's a few hundred records, or maybe a few hundred more than that. But in the past, I could go without record shopping for like months. It would be just something, oh, every few months I would, go to a physical brick and mortar store or something online, or we would be out and maybe at an antique or secondhand store. I would look through the records, but it wasn't something that I planned for, that I made time for in my daily schedule, or something that I kind of thought about all week. That, oh, I'm going to go record shopping. I'm going to go record shopping. It wasn't like that. But recently, I've noticed that my record shopping has increased. And so, if you're shopping maybe more than once a week for records, you might be a vinyl junkie. I feel like I'm doing pretty good. It has been 5 days since I last went record shopping. I did get a record in the mail yesterday, but I had bought that a while ago. So I purchased it a while ago, so I don't, it's been a while. I had went record shopping Sunday with my daughter. She had the day off, and I did have other things that I needed to do that day, but she had said, "Hey, let's go record shopping, Mom," and I want to spend quality time with my daughter, of course. So I went record shopping with her, and I didn't plan to get anything. Honestly, I didn't plan to buy anything. I was just, going to hang out and look at records. I had actually went record shopping the day before. I had went out of town and went to two different record stores, and I had, spent a good lump of cash on records. And so Sundays record store trip was not gonna, I wasn't gonna get anything. Of course, that's why all junkies like to tell themselves that no, they're not gonna do that next record score. They're not gonna do that. But yeah, that wasn't the case with me either. So I did pick up some records on Sunday, and I feel like it's definitely a red flag. When you're shopping more than once a week for vinyl records, you might be a vinyl junkie. So let me show you, though, like 3 of the records I did pick up this last weekend. Of course, I picked up more than 3, but I'm just going to show 3 really quick. So on Sunday, I actually picked up 2 records in the dollar bin. And the first one is the Outfield Bangin'. Such a cool cover on this album. I honestly don't remember any of the songs off the album right off. And of course, I haven't cleaned these yet, so I haven't spun them, but hopefully this weekend I will. The next one, also a dollar bin find, Eurythmics Savage. So I believe this was like circa 87, 88. So I was kind of excited about that. Dollar bin finds, those are great. And then on Saturday, I'd actually found this record, and I paid a little up for it. Not really. For $2.97, it's a Bow Wow Wow comp album. It has I Want Candy and Cowboy and some other great Bow Wow Wow songs. And so I was really happy about that. Of course, all the records that I picked up, they were not records that I was looking for. They were not grail items. They weren't by artists where I'm trying to collect their full discography. They're just albums that I saw, and then it was like, oh, I need those. I didn't realize I needed those in my life. And so, if you can relate, it might be a red flag for you too. So the second thing is you forget about things that you have in your collection, which is definitely a red flag. So when you have a lot of albums in your collection, whether it's a few hundred or with some of you a few thousand, that is not the case for me yet. I haven't crossed that line yet. But you forget about records that you have. And actually the other day, Steve Carlson, one of his Sunday chats, he featured an album by a band called Oscar and the Majestics. And they're a 60s garage band. Awesome stuff. Really gritty, some fuzz in there, lots of reverb. I really like them. Really dug it. And he did a needle drop, a great needle drop. Really liked what I was hearing. I was like, it kind of sounds familiar, but then I'm like, I don't know. And so after I'd watched the video, I had went on Discogs to kind of see what other albums they had and, maybe sample some music. And I noticed that I owned one of the records already. And that was Oscar and the Majestics, No Chance Baby. And this is a reissue by Sundazed. And a great album. I spun it right after and thoroughly enjoyed it. I had bought that album like 5 years ago, I think. And so if you're forgetting about music that you have in your collection, that you're not enjoying, that you're not spinning, you might be a vinyl junkie. So definitely a recent red flag for me. Another red flag is, I feel like this is a more recent thing, where I've been buying duplicate copies of albums. And at first I thought I would see other videos and I would think, really? Like, why do they need 3 copies of the same album? You have one copy, you listen to it, you enjoy it. And it's been kind of a subtle thing. I haven't gone full crazy type behavior yet, but I have bought a few duplicate albums. So case in point is Voices, Daryl Hall and John Oates. And this is honestly a favorite album from my tween years. I think I got this, I don't remember if I bought this with birthday money or it was a present from somebody, but I do love this album. It is showing its age, showing its wear. I think this is like 1982 or 83, maybe 82. I don't know right off. And I did see that Mobile Fidelity had a reissue of the album. So I thought about upgrading because it's a favorite album. But then I'm like, do I really need to do that? Because I'm still going to keep the other copy because it has sentimental value. And so I've been kind of going back and forth. Should I, shouldn't I? And then, lo and behold, I was shopping. And I found an alternate cover to Voices. And I love this cover. It's just so cheeky and cheesy. And I bought it. Like, really, did I need 2 copies of it? Another case in point is Joshua Tree by U2. A classic album. One of my favorites. This is my album from 1987 that I bought. And still in really good condition. The cover has a little wear on it just from shelf wear from moving around the last 30 plus years. And, but I still spin it. It's in great condition. I was in the record store though and stumbled across a sealed 1987 original copy of U2 Joshua Tree. And it was honestly very inexpensive and I couldn't leave it there, and so I did pick it up. Did I need that second copy? No, probably not. So I have to look at myself and say, hey, you might have a vinyl addiction. I could see maybe if I bought another copy of an album just because it was a better copy and I was gonna, weed out the older copy. But that's not the case. I'm keeping multiple copies of albums. And so I feel like it's a definite red flag that maybe I'm a vinyl junkie. The next thing that maybe you're a vinyl junkie is you buy a mound or a mountain off of Craigslist or eBay or Facebook Marketplace. And I always seen those people's videos and some of the albums, and I'm like, oh wow, that's cool, or why did you do that? And I did that. I bought a mountain, and not really a mountain. I would say it's a little mound. It's a mound. So back in February, snowing here in Maine, horrible weather, and my husband was looking on Facebook Marketplace and he was like, hey, there's this guy that has these records for sale. And it was like $120 for 120 records. And I was like, oh, that's ridiculous. I wouldn't pay that. And there were some pictures on there and they were like, some of them looked interesting, the pictures that he had. And then my husband's like, hey, let's go look or whatever. And so we went ahead and drove over to this place. It was about an hour away from where we lived. And we got there and started looking through the albums. Some of them were just, not something I was really interested in. Judy Collins, and I'm not a big Crosby, Stills and Nash fan, and there was quite a few of those in there. So there was a variety. But then I saw the album. Like angels singing, the light shining down on it. And it was an original monocopy of the Ronettes album. And I was just so excited. And I saw that and knew that I was going to end up buying this mountain just for this album. This album, probably in mint condition, would be worth what I was going to pay for the mountain. But I did get him down. I got the guy down to $80, which is really still too much to have paid for the 120 albums. But I did get this beauty right here. And there's other albums that I pulled out that I feel like, I got my money's worth. The thing, though, with this beautiful copy here is I already owned it. I owned a Music on Vinyl reissue of the album, which is a great reissue. Sounds wonderful, plays wonderful. So why did I need this? Did I really need this? And so the case with my mountain, though, is I still have part of the mountain. I haven't gone through it. I mean, I went through everything and kind of pulled out what kind of spoke to me and that I wanted and cleaned it up. But I still have half the mountain downstairs in my dining room, in a corner, in a box that I have not gone through yet. And that makes me really question whether I have an addiction or I'm a junkie. So maybe you've had a similar experience. So that's just kind of my thoughts. I just wanted to share and, please leave a comment. Maybe create a thread if there's subtle lines that you've seen, red flags that really speak to you, that perhaps you've crossed the line from music enthusiast to vinyl junkie. And just thank you for tuning in. Hope you all have a great weekend.